The battlefield was quiet, too quiet. Smoke curled over the ruins, broken bodies scattered across the dirt. And there, half buried under stone, he saw her. A young alien woman, her blue skin smeared with blood, her chest rising weakly, horns cracked, eyes glazed with pain. She was supposed to be the enemy, someone he should have left to die. But instead he knelt. He tore open his own armor, pressing his hands against her wounds, whispering words of comfort she didn't even understand. And in that moment, when the world demanded cruelty, he gave her something no one had ever dared: compassion. He stumbled through the ruins, boots crunching on broken stone, the metallic taste of smoke thick in the air. The battlefield stretched for miles, littered with the shattered wrecks of machines and the bodies of both human and alien soldiers. His sidearm was empty, his armor cracked and dented, but he was alive, barely. He didn't know how many hours he'd been wandering since the fighting stopped, only that silence pressed against him harder than the ringing in his ears. Then he heard it, a faint, ragged breath beneath the rubble. He froze. Every instinct told him to move on, to conserve his strength, but something pulled him forward. He shoved aside chunks of concrete, tore through bent steel, and there she was, an alien woman, young, no more than 24 in human years. Her glowing blue skin was smeared with dirt and blood, her two short horns cracked and bleeding. Her chest rose shallowly, each inhale weaker than the last. She was supposed to be the enemy, a soldier of the species that had burned human cities to ash, but when her teal eyes fluttered open and met his, he didn't see hatred. He saw fear, raw, desperate fear. He dropped to his knees. "Stay with me," he whispered, though she couldn't possibly understand his words. She tried to move, but a broken cry escaped her lips as blood welled from a deep gash across her abdomen. Without thinking, he ripped a strip of fabric from his undersuit and pressed it against the wound. She gasped, teeth clenched, her body trembling under his touch. "Easy, easy, just hold on," he murmured. Her hands, delicate yet trembling with strength, clutched weakly at his wrist as if begging him not to leave. He remembered the warnings drilled into him during training. Never aid an enemy, never waste resources on what could be a trick. But this wasn't a soldier anymore. This was a girl dying alone in the dirt. He lifted her into his arms. She was heavier than she looked, her thick thighs and curving frame built with muscle and softness, but she felt fragile, as if she might shatter in his grasp. Her head slumped against his shoulder, her long indigo hair falling over his chest plate, sticky with blood. Each step he took was agony, his own wounds screaming, but he carried her away from the smoking craters and the smell of death. He found shelter in the broken shell of a transport vehicle, its walls still humming faintly with dying power. He laid her down gently, propping her head against his pack. Her eyes flickered open again, glassy and unfocused. She whispered something in her own tongue, a soft, trembling sound that seemed half a plea, half a goodbye. He shook his head. "No, not yet." He pulled the emergency injector from his belt, one last dose of nanites meant to stabilize critical injuries. It was his only chance to survive the trek back to human lines. He looked at it, thumb hovering over the release. His vision blurred, his chest burned with exhaustion. He knew he couldn't last long without it. But then he looked at her again. She was staring at him, those enormous alien eyes filled with tears, lips trembling as though she understood what he held in his hand. She didn't beg. She didn't try to take it. She just looked at him with the quiet resignation of someone who had already accepted death. He closed his eyes. He could hear his commander's voice echoing in his mind. "Save yourself. Humanity needs you. Don't waste what little you have." But he also remembered another voice, his mother's, long before the war. She had told him that sometimes the only way to win was not with a weapon, but with mercy. His hand shook as he pressed the injector against her neck. "Live," he whispered, releasing the nanites into her bloodstream. She gasped, her back arching as the microscopic machines swarmed her wounds. The bleeding slowed, the trembling eased, color returned faintly to her cheeks. Tears spilled down her face as she realized what he had done. He smiled faintly, though his vision was dimming. "You'll be all right now." She reached for him, her fingers brushing his cheek. He felt warmth there, not just physical but something deeper, a gratitude that transcended language. She whispered again, softer this time, a word he didn't know but somehow understood. "Thank you." His strength was gone. The pain he had been holding back surged, his body collapsing beside her. He couldn't feel his legs anymore, couldn't lift his arms. The injector had been his only chance, and he had given it away. She cradled his head in her lap, her tears falling onto his face as the nanites worked to heal her body. Her voice trembled as she tried to speak human words, broken and uncertain. "Why you save?" He forced his eyes open one last time, meeting her gaze. "Because someone had to," he rasped. She bent low, pressing her forehead gently against his, her horns grazing his temple. She wept openly now, the sound raw and unguarded. He tried to lift a hand, to comfort her, but his arm fell limply. His chest rose once more, then shuddered. His final breath escaped as a faint smile touched his lips. The battlefield was silent again. But in the ruins, where death had claimed so many, something new stirred. An alien woman with glowing blue skin and eyes wet with grief rose from the wreckage, carrying the body of the man who had given her life. And though she was the last of her unit, and he the last of his, she swore his sacrifice would not be forgotten. For in the place where war demanded hatred, a human had given her the one gift no one else ever had: hope.